What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I'm Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris 183.
It's warp time, Chris 183. You ready for this shit?
I certainly am. You know, we're coming fresh off of Four Chord time, and I'm ready to jump right into another festival talk here, Steve. The Warp Tour. I haven't been to a Warp Tour in a long time, though. I'll tell you that much.
It's been a minute for me. So we invited some folks that are all about the Warp Tour. They're in a band that's called the Warped Band. They went to Warp Tour. I think they're the official band. I'll let them explain it. I don't want to say the wrong words. But we have Drew and Aaron from the Warp Band. Thank you guys for joining us. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having us.
What's up, Drew?
I'm here to answer questions and make fun of Aaron. That is my main objectives.
That kind of seems like what you do when you guys play on stage as well.
Yeah, we've got that Blink-182 vibe. We a lot of banter.
I wanted to kind of start here because we met in person. The Warp Band was playing. Actually, it was the most convenient thing like ever. It was like 10 minutes from my house. A pretty small bar in Wayne, Pennsylvania, and so super easy for me to get to and do the Ubers, so I didn't have to worry about driving.
I mean, that was always the great thing about Warped Tours. It came to you.
You're absolutely right. For me, it was still pretty far away, though. I grew up on Long Island, so I had to go to Randall's Island, which is this huge dead field next to like a jail, and it was not easy to get to. This was perfectly easy to get to, but I want to kind of start this off and ask you guys a question, because you said something on stage during your set, which was fantastic. I had a whole lot of fun. I brought my friends that are not pop punkers, but they had a good time, and right up front, playing along, singing along. So I grew up on Long Island, and I don't know these people personally, but there's another band, and I think they're called the Warp Tour Band. And you guys were on stage, and you had mentioned like, we are. I don't know how you said it, but you guys are the official or the first or something like that. So I'm wondering, is there how did this come about, or is there some beef between these bands with the same concepts? What's the deal?
As much beef as there is with other Long Island bands, right? Like, the Taking Back Sunday Brand New backstory, right?
Sure.
Actually, that's more beef.
I don't think that's bad. It's not that bad. We're not stealing anybody's girlfriend. Now, hold on a minute. Hold on. Warp Band was kind of a concept. I had been doing another band with our previous drummer for a while, and it was kind of a concept that was in my brain for a while. I've grown up at Warp Tour. I'm friends with Kevin Lyman. I kind of pitched the idea to him right after COVID. Had no idea at the time the other band existed. We started auditioning. Aaron came into play. It's been me and him leading the way vocally from day one, and bantering and self-degrading each other, but it's fine. The other band, there's not really beef. We actually talked to the other band. There's kind of an understanding of like Long Island's your area, Central PA is our area. So we're kind of starting to work together to stay out of each other's way. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, just because there's two bands doesn't mean anybody owns Warp Tour, right? Kevin Lyman owns Warp Tour, So for us, though, the thing that we always insinuate and that you might be referring to from that show is most of the bands that do this kind of stuff are only doing pop punk and emo. And that's like a good chunk of Warp Tour, but that wasn't all of Warp Tour, right?
I do remember this. Yes. Now, I remember this was later on in the evening banter.
Right. So like Aaron is a good example. Like the one of the Warp Tours Aaron went to was a lot longer back than me. So like Aaron was hitting Warp Tour right when Fall Out Boy was coming in. Right. So that's how long ago Aaron hit a Warp Tour. So like Aaron's Warp Tour was more like, Pennywise and Real Big Fish and NoFX and like Propagandhi and stuff like that was more like Aaron's era of Warp Tour. And some other people, like there's people who could be in their 60s who went to Warp Tour when they were 30 and saw Sublime headline, right? But no bands were doing that. Everybody was just doing the same thing, So for us, we like to separate ourselves as like, we have the utmost respect for Kevin and the brand itself as a whole. So we want to do the brand the justice it deserves. So that's playing Sublime and NoFX and Goldfinger all the way up to the new stuff when you get into like All Time Low and A Day to Remember and My Chemical Romance. But then we also, we splash in like we're doing a bunch of Screamo stuff. So now we're doing Pierce the Veil and we do a Rage Against the Machine medley because Prophets of Rage played a Warped Tour when they were in Japan one time, and we do a Linkin Park. We do an Eminem song. We used to even do Katy Perry. She played a Warped Tour, so it counted. So like we really strive to encompass everything that Warped Tour was, and not just your standard emo night pop punk band.
The way we also kind of describe it to people is that we do song voting, which we can talk a little bit more about then. But we are always very comfortable with the fact that there are going to be songs that we play that the entire audience doesn't know. But like, that's the great thing. People are coming out and enjoying 90% of our set, and they get to learn 2 or 3 new songs and maybe take something home, a little bit of homework to go check out some of these older bands or a different genre than what they're used to. Because maybe like half the audience that comes are familiar with Warped Tour and the punk rock scene, but a lot of them are just like interested in going to a show, and they're familiar enough that they know the Green Days and Blink-182 and Paramore and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like it sparks their interest enough that they get their eyes open to like what a punk show is. It's a more accessible way of getting into that scene as opposed to like going to the kind of clubs that we would frequent to see like a punk show with, 5 bands that are underground kind of thing.
I gotta feel like you guys draw more people by doing that because there's more for more people to listen to versus others that just focus on one subsection of that. And, like for me, yes, like you just said, I may not know song A, but I know song B and C are going to be great because I can connect to those. So I honestly, I don't understand why you wouldn't do this concept. I feel like this is the best way to go. Just for general enjoyment of the crowd and being there and having a good time. That's just my opinion, I guess.
It also lets us be really flexible. Like throughout the night, we'll bring it down and play something that's a little more slower and emo, like a Dashboard song or something like Sublime, and then we'll like hit them over the head with some really hardcore stuff or like get things going with a fast skate punk, Limp Bizkit, And it really ebbs and flows a lot, but it keeps things interesting. Like we don't have anybody, dipping out because they're like bored. Like we keep the show really exciting. That's the point. High energy, but there's moments where you just got to bring it down and like take it in. Play a song like I Miss You by Blink and just kind of stand around and be nostalgic for what it was.
Our show should be endorsed by Planet Fitness because of the cardio workout that we put on for ourselves and everybody.
I got to give you props because the stage was limited and you guys were all over the place. It looked like you were having a good time, sweating a little bit.
Aaron sweats probably more than anybody I've ever met. And he always on every night usually has 2 of those really nice blower fans blowing at him to try it, and it just doesn't help. And then I run around. We were playing outside a couple months ago for like an outdoor festival, and I was still in skinny jeans running around with no fan like a maniac. Like
it's not just like it has nothing to do with his band. Like my nickname in high school was Faucet. Like I play soccer as well. I'm like a multi-sport athlete, and I've never met a single person in my life that sweats more than me. It's like not just like a one-time thing. I am a sweaty person.
We should play pickleball sometimes because when I play sports, I sweat pretty profusely as well. I wonder if I could give you a run for your money. That's really the only sport that I kind of play.
Let's do it.
How are we going to judge who sweats more? What are we going to have to towel you off and wring it out? And, judge it in like.
We're going to have to measure it in fluid ounces.
I don't think I want to be there for that at all, though.
Maybe we just weigh each other at the beginning and weigh each other at the end, or weigh the shirts.
Oh, that's a good idea too. Yeah.
People that sweat as much as us don't mind talking about how much we sweat, but then other people are grossed out by it. I'm like, no, I get it, man. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Sorry about that.
Because it's pretty gross. No.
That's just normal.
So I wanted to ask, the place where I saw you guys was, I think that you'd mentioned it was a little bit different than some of the other places that you play. Because, and again, this isn't a place that I frequent all that much. I came specifically because I saw that, you guys were in town, but it was kind of like half sit down, like the whole back was like sit down. I think that you guys had said it was kind of fancy. It's funny because that place used to be like a dive sports bar, and then they, changed owners or whatever. And I guess I guess they're going a little bit more classy. But are you guys playing like kind of like your typical, like bar band type places? You mentioned outdoor stuff, or is it kind of just a mix of everything?
So the one in Philadelphia specifically that you came to, we were trying to get into Ardmore, and the promoters there wanted us to play there. I have thoughts on that. It's probably a lot to do with they have that room and they're trying to get some good shows in there and help out a room that wouldn't get something like our size.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's crazy to look back on that. I mean, that's a little over a year ago, and now we've got video and lighting. Like, we'd never fit in that space now. Like, it just physically wouldn't work to try to get all of our production in there now.
So what was the thought to not go to Ardmore the first time? Because that's a little bit of a bigger venue.
That was them call and not us call, and it was us being willing to play ball and say, yeah, we'll go into your sister room and do a show there.
Oh, okay.
Generally,
but for perspective, Ardmore is kind of this kind of venue that we're typically playing at, if you're familiar with that one. So
yeah, I mean, most
like 400
of the time,
to 600 cap.
Yeah, yep. I mean, that's kind of our sweet spot, 400 to 600 caps that are like your traditional concert venues. You know, we're getting ready to go in December out, and we're going to play the Machine Shop in Flint, Michigan, which is like a legendary rock club. So like most of the time we're in ticketed rooms. Bars, we started in them when we first started out just to kind of test the concept 3 years ago. But I mean, typically we're not in those anymore. I mean, most of the time we're in a ticketed room. We've done some outdoor like festival type events. You know, we've done some stuff in Greensburg, and we do Music Fest every year in Bethlehem.
Mm-hmm.
So we do some festival outdoor stuff that's generally free. It makes it difficult on him and I because Warped Tour is not exactly a non-explicit show. So it makes it very difficult when Limp Bizkit's normally in the set list to not be playing Limp Bizkit, or to not be playing I Write Sins Not Tragedies and all this other stuff that I can't curse on and say fuck and shit and god damn it.
Whoa. You can't curse. This is a family show.
Is it?
No. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
It's not.
Just fucking-
It's not.
It is funny. It is funny that
throw that out the window.
as a line is coming up in a song where I would typically swear, I just see Drew like staring at me like, is he going to say it?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Not allowed to. Literally on our set list, if it's a show like that that's like outside general public, I have to write in bold at the bottom, do not swear tonight.
Well, you said set list, so that's my next question is, you know, so do you have a core set list that you guys follow, or do you have songs that overlap, you know, for the majority of your performances, or does it just depend performance to performance?
Well, we do song voting, but what we discovered, we've been doing this almost since the beginning. I think it was not more than a couple months after we started that we started doing song voting. And what we started to find was that people were voting for the same few songs every single night. So we just kind of took those out of the voting list because it was just kind of watering down the vote overall. And we're like, if everyone's going to pick Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy, then we don't need people to vote for it. We'll just let them vote for something else. And oftentimes what we'll do is like, we've got 3 Fall Out Boy in the voting. If another one gets picked highly, then we just won't play Sugar We're Going Down that night, and we'll do the alternative Fall Out Boy one. And then we always make sure to add in a few genres. Like we always add in a ska song. We always try to add in like an old school punk thing, like NoFX or Pennywise or Bouncing Souls, Old Green Day.
Yeah.
So even if it's only voted, like if it gets like 5 votes and the rest of them are getting like 30 votes, we still like prioritize one thing from kind of every genre at a minimum.
Got it. Do you do any write-ins, or do you see maybe what else people want to listen to by doing some sort of just blank writing?
So we don't do a blank writing. So what we do is we kind of just keep a running tab of songs that people have been asking for, or bands that people have been asking for at venues over time. And what we'll do is in our song voting at the bottom, there's a section that says pick our next song. And we usually update that every 4 or 5 months. And we put, 6 or 7 songs or bands. Like for example, everybody kept asking for Pierce the Veil. So we were okay, well, let's just put King for a Day in the song voting and let's see if they pick that. So what we'll do is we'll put like 7 songs in, and they'll be all different bands usually, and we'll let them vote, and then whatever the top 2 or 3 are after a few months, then those are the next songs we learn. Like more recently, like we knew we wanted to add Falling in Reverse, which we're getting ready to work on, but we didn't know what end of Falling in Reverse people wanted. You know, do they want The Drug in Me Is You old school, or do they want Popular Monster like new school? So we put both of them in to voting. So I mean, we've got probably a reserve of like 40 other songs that are still going to go up for votes. But yeah, I mean, we'll let them up for a time period, and then we'll sit down as a band and look at which ones got the most votes overall, or like won the most weeks overall, and then those will be the next songs we add in.
I'm kind of curious about Drew and Aaron's like origin stories, because when you put together a band like the Warp Band, and you're playing a bunch of different genres of music, and Drew, you've mentioned kind of some old school stuff and some newer school stuff. Like you guys are in high school and you're getting your your music, sucking it in like a sponge. What were you guys into? I would guess Blink-182 from the stage show, but you tell me.
Drew really liked my band.
It's not a lie.
There's the banter. So I think I'm like 8, 9 years older than you. So actually Drew and I went
6
to different high schools, but in the same town. So he grew up kind of coming to shows that my band was playing at the time, and we were pop punk. Like I was listening to, and this is a fun fact, one of my favorite bands growing up was the Swellers. They just created an Instagram page today and put a post up. It's just a blank screen, like a black post. I think they might be coming back. I'm really excited about that. But like the Swellers, pop punk, I did grow up with like a little bit more on the like Newfound Glory, Boys Night Out, a little more of the like metal and like heavier punk rock and like No Use for a Name and that kind of stuff. I of course knew Blink and loved Blink. I really never listened to Green Day a lot growing up. I had like the Dookie album, and then that was it. I like didn't continue with a lot of Green Day. But yeah, I mean, I've been playing in punk bands since I was 16, and I'm 39. So you do the math. It's been like well over 20 years that I've been doing this. And my band back in the day, we used to do cover sets like every New Year's, and we would just have like 3 hours worth of material, have friends come out for New Year's Eve, and we'd just basically let people shout out songs or bands, and we would just cover them. So this was kind of like a thought many, many years ago, 15, 20 years ago. We were like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if 20 years from now we could just play cover songs but like back then no one gave a shit about it. So we were just playing for our friends in a bar.
Yeah.
Drew,
So for me, my growing up music wise, it's kind of still the same. Reliant K was kind of top for me, and they still kind of are. And Dookie is one of like the reasons I wanted to get into music. I know that album front to back. I love that album. The day I found that album, I couldn't stop listening to it. Started playing guitar, started just going to local shows, found Aaron's band, wanted to play in bands like Aaron, started a band, started booking shows. So we had shows to play, because at that point, nobody was really booking anything in our town when I started playing in a band. Playing shows and booking shows in a DIY punk band over the years turned into working in music full time. I've ran a couple venues as a manager. I ran an arena for 3 years. I've just finished doing some work as a GM at a venue, and I'm getting ready to come in and do. I'm coming in as an agent with an agency we're actually signed to now.
Nice.
So I kind of took wanting to be in a band because I saw Aaron play and turned it into a full career for the last 14 years.
The funny thing too is that like I was the one, and it's funny that you and I are in the position that we are in this band, because like I was booking the shows in our town for years through high school, and for like the few years after high school that I was kind of coming home during college over the summers and stuff. But like you picked up immediately after I moved away, and kind of kept the scene going. So we really grew up in the same scene, just like years apart. And didn't really reconnect until this started. So yeah, it's kind of funny how it all came full circle.
Yeah, and like the whole idea of even like I was old school DIY kid. Like I'm not doing a cover band. I'm not doing it. And then probably about 2015, 2016, I knew a guy that ran a bar at Penn State, and he had a band drop one night, and he called me and he said, "Hey, can you come play?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't do covers." And he said, "Well, you guys are all musicians. You'll figure it out. Like, just play something, like, as long as it's not originals." So I called everybody. We went in and we just
that's the definition of paper. Not covers.
Right. We literally took a piece of paper and was like, who knows what song? Okay, what key is it? And we just started writing shit down and we made it up. And then it turned into like a weekly thing. And then that turned into like a cover band that was kind of doing this, but it wasn't. And we were only really playing Penn State. And it was kind of I knew if this was going to keep going. And I saw like, ooh, this is funding my original project. This is great. Like, I knew this is kind of what I wanted to do. So like when COVID hit and that dissolved, it was kind of okay, this is the time to start this if I'm going to do it. And I can tell you I enjoy this much more than playing the bars.
and to speak for the other guys, we all play in original bands too. And we all kind of have said that like there's no other cover band we would want to be doing. Like this is far more meaningful than just like going into a bar and playing covers. Because it's just so incredibly nostalgic, the music that we're playing. It's fun for us. People come up after shows and they're like, that was amazing. We love all the songs we play. And it's like, yeah, so do we. Like to be able to go out and play this and draw the crowds that are just like screaming their faces off, like that, those are the kind of people we want to be hanging out with. And so, yeah, this is the only cover project I think we would ever really enjoy doing fully.
There was a couple things there. So first of all, what was the bar? What was the bar at Penn State? I'm just curious. Very familiar. First, okay.
First.
Okay. I've been there many, many times. All right, cool. So
and the fact you remember them is shocking.
Dude, that's like one of the oldest bars at Penn State. I mean, yeah. And one of the ones that's still there that, you know, Penn State's totally different from when I was there.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna guess the Shandy Gaff, but I don't know. That probably wasn't even there even after I graduated.
No,
it's still there.
It is still there.
It's still there.
It turned into more of the karaoke and DJ bar, though.
Did it? I just know they had $5 Captain and Coke pitchers, and that's all that mattered. Number 2 is you talked about Green Day, Dookie. So, Drew, are you very opinionated about your music? A yes or no on that one? Are you very opinionated?
I'm pretty opinionated.
Is Dookie the best Green Day? I know you already said this, but I really want you to think about the answer one more time. Is Dookie the best Green Day album, period?
If you want Green Day at its purest form, yes. Because, quite frankly, like, American Idiot's good. Even, like, you could get into, like, Insomniac. But when you get when you start getting into 21 Guns, it starts to, like, it's not the same punk band they were. Not that I have a problem with punk bands maturing, but a good example of this is like a Paramore, right? They were Paramore had a sound. They had a very distinct sound for those first few albums, and then it went pop. Like Green Day starts to go to pop for me, and I almost feel like Billy, his lyrics and his writing starts to become not as strong, in my opinion, after 21 Guns and after 21st Century Breakdowns, the album. Like after that album, I feel like his writing, like I feel like his lyrical writing isn't as strong, in my opinion.
God, hold that thought till later. And then finally, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but you mentioned something that I thought was something worth talking about, and it's when they said to you, you know, as long as it's not originals, and I know you guys play in original bands, and, you know, you do that too, you do both. You know, do you feel like in today's day and age, is it tough to book original band music in clubs and or bars? Do you think it's more challenging today than maybe it was 10 or so years ago?
I think we'll both
I mean,
have a different
yeah.
perspective here. Go ahead, Aaron.
I mean, I was just going to say that, like, we look at some of the bars, the venues that we're playing, and you see so much of it as tributes now. Like, it's not hard to sell a tribute. I think it's more so the way that it's being advertised. It's easier to advertise things nowadays than it used to be digitally, where you can use like Meta, Facebook, Instagram advertising and
Dude,
say,
I got
here's the
targeted hard when you guys came to
Absolutely.
my town. It was all over my shit. They're like,
And
he
that's the
likes
same
Blink
thing
182. Send him this ad. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, I do want to go to that.
because it's so easy to do that now. I feel like that's part of the thing that's like pushing this tribute thing more, is because like if you get an AC/DC tribute, you know what that is. If you get a Warp Band tribute, you know what that is. Like it's easy to get the message out there, and it's harder, not necessarily with shows, but with discovering music. The way we discover music now is so different. So it's less likely that somebody's just going to come across like an interesting band and then suddenly you see that they're playing locally, because people are just throwing on like radio and playlists and stuff, and you don't really encounter the same kind of like, oh, my friends like this album and I'm going to like just dig into this band. So all of that I think works together, and is probably part of the reason why it's more difficult to have an original band break into like a venue. I don't know. That's my perspective, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, as a guy who's ran rooms, I would say no, I don't feel it is. Really, from a club perspective, they're not really concerned. You don't really care who the band is, as long as they're bringing people in and they're drinking. You know, the club's making money, the band's got a good show, and that's all they care about. You know, clubs have a very basic structure of what they need to do business wise, you know. So if you're an act that can draw, or even, you know, I did an original tour years ago where I put it together and I did 2 weeks, but every show I had, I found 3 local bands in that area to play with me that had draw power. And then I put myself in the middle of the show. I didn't
Yep.
make it like I was headlining. I'm not the draw in that town. I just want to break into that town so people hear me. But I feel like with Meta specifically, it's a lot easier to find and contact smaller clubs and find clubs that would have never been on your radar back, you know, MySpace days, even, as much as we all loved and lived and breathed and died by MySpace. But
Got to
you know,
get that play
MySpace-
count up.
Yep. I mean, MySpace, you didn't have the targeting ads like you do now. Now, granted, Meta's kind of fucked that up recently with changing some of it, but I just, you know, even today, like when I'm helping us or even another band find shows, I tried and true method. Find a band doing something similar, see where the hell they play, call those places. Like it's worked for decades. I'm sure Aaron did it with Shelbyville long back in the day before Facebook existed. But I almost feel like as long as you can draw or you can sell your band, I don't think it's harder to get shows these days. I really don't. I think sometimes it's harder to get a club to be like, hey, like, we're a band, pay us $500. Well, that's great, but like, are you going to bring me $500 worth of business? So I think, you know, to a certain extent, I still think it's easier these days.
All right. I want to, since I was asking about origin stories earlier, I'm going to ask some more origin stories right now. And, you know, you guys are the Warp Band. I mentioned, so I grew up, I went to most of the Warp tours probably around between 1999 and maybe 2004 or 5, somewhere around there. That's my heyday. I went to this venue. Again, it was in Randall's Island in New York. I forget if it's like Queens or Staten Island. It was like right under a bridge, but it was this big, dirty field, and had some great stories. You know, I'm curious to hear, you know, you guys, you know, named your band and conceptualized your band after the Warp Tour. You know, what are some of your early memories? Where'd you go? What's some of your favorite ones?
Go ahead, Drew. You have probably more Warped Tour stories. I'll
Aaron's like, I've never
couple.
even seen a Warp Tour.
They got everybody in the band. I'm the quote Warp Tour historian and quote snob here, and is why I stand on my pedestal every night and say that I feel like we do this better. I started going to Warped Tour around 2010. And I went every year, even still now with the reunions. I went to all of them. I ended up meeting Kevin Lyman at a conference in 2012 and told him I was going into music. I was about a year out of high school at that point, and I said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go into the music business. You know, I admire what you do. Can I buy you lunch and pick your brain?" And him and I had a conversation and got to know each other a little bit. And he gave me some advice. And from about 2013 on, I was Kevin's guest list at Warped Tour every year. I went twice a year. I would go. One time would be just to go see who I wanted, who was playing Warped Tour, and then the next time I'd go, you know, whether I went to Scranton, then I went to Pittsburgh. I always would talk to Kevin and say, like, who do you think I should watch this year? And, like, you know, a lot of my connections in music and my understanding of the industry was really built in that backstage of Warped Tour growing up for those, you know, 7 years I still had it. You know,
Probably smelled really nice back there.
Well, that depended on what bus you were at and who you were around. But like when Warped Tour had the exhibit open in 2019 at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that was a very small ticket as far as how many tickets were available to go. And Kevin had me come out for that, and that meant a lot to get to be there for that. So I've been to, like I said, 2010 up through this year as well.
Yeah, I mean, my coolest story that I have from Warped Tour, I didn't go as early as you, Steve, but I think I went '02 through '06. And the one interesting memory that actually came full circle this year, which is unbelievable to me, this blew my mind. I saw Paramore at their first Warped Tour, and I always tell this story. Actually, I tell it like at shows sometimes whenever we go before we play a Paramore song. But like when I saw Paramore at their first Warped Tour, it was on a little side stage, like pickup truck trailer kind of thing, like 18-wheeler trailer bed. And there were 7 people watching them, and 3 of them were my friends. There was this other little group of like 2 or 3 people watching them. And I was talking to a guy at a show that we just played down in Wilmington, North Carolina, and he was telling me this story. He was like, "Man, your guys' set was great. This brings me back to Warped Tour." He's like, "I'm actually from Pennsylvania originally. I went to the Scranton Warped Tour." I was like, "Oh man, I went to Scranton." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I saw Paramore there, and there was only like 7 people watching them." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, I literally always tell the story how it was my group of friends and this other group of friends watching Paramore, and that was it. And like, that was him. Unbelievable. I was just like, I couldn't believe the small world that we live in. So, tightest band I ever saw at Warped Tour was Thrice. That their set was absolutely incredible. I think the band in all the years that I ever was going to Warped Tour that I was most excited to see was Boys Night Out. And I remember standing there watching them, and I was like, I didn't know their drummer played a single kick. And like, it always sounds like he was playing a double kick. And I'm actually going to see them with my wife here in November. So I'm really excited. I haven't seen Boys Night Out since that show at Warped Tour.
Somebody that we talked to, I think, is on a leg of that tour. It might be Mest or Spitalfields or somebody's on that.
Spitalfield. It's Spitalfield.
Yeah, Mark.
The first, instead of giving my wife like a mixed CD whenever we first started dating, the first present that I ever bought her was the Spitalfield CD.
Nice.
So
Remember
it'll be
right
a fun
now?
show for us. Yep.
Okay. Approved.
I was trying to find out. I went to Warped Tour a long time ago, and I cannot remember which one it was. But the only thing I do remember, and this was in Pittsburgh, was that Green Day was there, and Billy Joe come out and said, "No one's fucking here to see Jimmy's Chicken Shack. They're here to see me. I'm a rock god." And then the dude from Jimmy's Chicken Shack ran out on stage, minus his clothes. And
wow.
it was, I was like, what's happening here? So
Do you think that was planned?
I don't know. I don't think so. But it looks like it was Warped Tour 2000.
Yeah, that sounds right. I was going to say, it's got to be around 99 to 2001, because that was kind of when Green Day played.
So it looks like Boss Tones, No Effects, MXPX, Flogging Molly, Anti-Flag, Save Ferris, Papa Roach, and I swear Bloodhound Gang was there too, but I can't say that was that year or if it was a different year, but it was a really cool one. And that kind of brings me to, unrelated to my next question for you guys. Is there any artist or songs that you, not that you won't play, but that you just don't play or stay away from?
Yes. I mean, you just name dropped one. Like, we were in the middle of learning an Anti-Flag song when that whole debacle happened, which is incredibly, really, really disappointing because Anti-Flag was one of our favorite bands. So we canned that one. I don't know how long it takes before things like that go in the past, but
we were back and forth on Brand New when we started to, and then we took a poll and realized that very few people were going to be upset if we played Brand New. So for about the first year and a half, I used to give a disclaimer that our bass player was our HR and complaint department. So if you were upset that we played Brand New, complain to him. But now we're doing song voting. So if they're upset, it's their own fault. It's perfect.
Right. They're choosing.
That's what we always say.
Work band, passing the blame.
Our buddies in the emo band, they do, the live band karaoke thing, but it's all pop punk and emo. We had a conversation with them about, would you play Brand New or not? And they were kind of up in the air. And I think that they obviously they know how to play the songs, but they're not on their list. So haven't seen them in a while. I'm not sure if those have been added back in or not.
Here's always been my argument on stage. Every Halloween, everybody loves to listen to Thriller by Michael Jackson and forget about the shitty things he did, like, hanging a kid over a balcony and dumb shit he was doing. But you like the song. So you kind of separate the man that he turned out to be from the song, right? It's the same thing. It's not everybody in Brand New's fault or the song's fault that Jesse turned out to be a kind of a shitty human. It's so separate the two. Like, we're going to play the song because we like the song, and everybody else in Brand New are decent humans.
Probably. That we know of.
That we know of, correct.
Too much drama in the pop punk world.
To say, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's probably every world, but it's unfortunate when some of these bands that you like hear these things. And
I'm tired of listening to Thriller. I'm tired of Thriller. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Would you prefer Black and White? Would that make it better?
It would.
Okay.
It would
you
because
prefer
there's so
Mariah
much
Carey?
more. There's so much more to talk about with Black or White. You know what I mean? Like, you can talk about the video. There's morphing. I mean, there's no morphing in Thriller.
No, there's not. It's a good song.
I mean, doesn't he morph into a zombie?
It's not
kind
a
of.
morph.
I mean,
No, it's not a morph.
It was an 80s morph.
It's no morphs. Nope.
Yeah.
I would argue that's a reincarnation.
I mean, it's in the vicinity of a morph.
It's not adjacent to a morph.
It's in the vicinity, not adjacent, but it's in the same
like
world.
17 blocks down from it is where it's at.
Good stuff. So, talk about Warped Tour this year. So I haven't been to a Warped Tour in a really, really fucking long time, right? Again, I went when I was kind of a teenager into my college years, and then I went probably more. There were a couple other festivals. There was the Skate and Surf Festival, which turned into Bamboozle. Went to that a couple of years, and I did kind of miss Warped Tour. I went to. There was like a Warped. No, it was actually a Bamboozle road show. That was in like 2010, 2011, something like that. But I haven't been to a Warped Tour in a long time. Warped Tour decided to kind of call it quits with the nationwide thing in approximately 2019, but they did, I think, a handful of, like they did the show in New Jersey. Then this year, or 2025, so, earlier this year, they announced that they're going to do basically 3 shows. They're going to do Washington, D.C., they're going to do Long Beach, California, and they're going to do Orlando, which I think is the only one that hasn't happened yet. Is that correct?
Correct.
Drew, are you like a Warped Wikipedia? Could I ask you anything about Warped Tour and you would know?
I could get damn close. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty.
You didn't do very good at our quiz that we did. We made a Warped
I know.
Tour quiz.
It was, well, yeah.
It was
maybe.
deep. AI will be to defeat you every day.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
We did a Jeopardy and Warped Tour was a category, and
Nice.
I forget the questions, but we'll pose them to you at some other time. But
Okay.
so I'm obviously closest to the Washington D.C. show, and I personally, at first I was like, all right, well, this is going to be like a 2-day thing. You know, I got kid, I got wife. I'm like, is this going to be a full weekend thing? Can everybody go? Am I going by myself? Does the weekend work where there's no dance competitions? And then the whole thing where, you know, you kind of had to buy in before you saw the lineup. I got burned real bad a few years ago by that Bamboozle Festival. They sold their tickets before the lineup came out, and they weren't selling them. You had to like buy them through some NFT, and it was my 40th birthday, and there were like there's a whole big party I was planning around it, and then everyone just got mad that the lineup was horrible. I got a refund. A lot of people still haven't gotten their refunds. It gets canceled. But I was kind of turned off to the fact that the lineup hadn't been released before the tickets, and then Washington D.C. like fucking sold out. So by the time that it was actually told who the bands were going to be, it was sold out. And then, you know, when I looked at kind of the lineup, and we can go through some of the bands there, I was just kind of like, you know, is this a lineup that I need to see for like, you know, $400, $500 for a weekend? And I opted not to go. So I'm curious what your guys, you know, how is this year's reunion? What did you guys think of the lineups? Talk about you guys playing there, like all of these things.
Sure. Aaron, you want me to take this one?
I mean, I'll just say it was great. It was very nostalgic. The production was better than it had ever been. I got to see all the bands that I wanted to see. There were a ton that, like, when I first looked at the lineup for all of them, I was kind of questioning, like, man, there's a lot of bands on here I don't know. And it goes back to that point, though, that like every now and then you stumble across a stage where a band's playing and you discover something new. Yeah, I mean, looking at this, like,
I'm just sharing my screen that has the lineup in it. It's quite difficult to read because I guess it's in alphabetical order.
it's tough because like I find it hard to find a band on here that I like have legitimately never even heard of at all. And I might pick one out and people be like, how don't you know that band? But like most of the bands on here, I was stoked to see. Like, dude, Comeback Kid, they never played Warped Tour. That was their first Warped Tour. And I think they're playing all three this year. I forget. I know they're playing in Orlando. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's something for everybody. So I really enjoyed our time in DC. We didn't get a chance to go to the Long Beach one because we just all had plans, but we're also all going to the one in Orlando.
Yeah, so for me, the kind of what a lot of people have asked me this question. So kind of what I've thought of the whole thing was it still has the Warped Tour feel, right? Not everybody had their merch tents, which kind of chapped my ass a little bit, but like almost everybody had merch tents. You know, they still had the acoustic tent. They brought the half pipe back, which they had gotten rid of for a while. I think it was cool. They brought the Nitro Circus guys in this year. That was kind of a cool thing to throw back because they used to have more action sports stuff at Warped Tour. It felt like Warped Tour still, just it felt more like a festival version. Like Warped Tour is technically a festival, but Warped Tour's never felt like, you know, a Bamboozle or a Riot Fest or a Louder Than Life, or like it never had that kind of crazy big stage with the big production and all the extra crap, right? This one did. So it was just it's a Warped Tour. It's just on a little bit of steroids. But I know a lot of people felt like you, Steve. They looked at the lineup and they were like, "Oh, is this a lineup I want to spend money on?" I think the thing that a lot of people our age failed to remember is that was what everybody who was 30 was saying when we were thinking of going to a Warped Tour, right? Warped Tour's, business model was recycling that 15 to 23, 24-year-old kid into Warped Tour because they had artists on that age demographic liked. So, I think what they did worked, and I think it does work because I look at this and there's a lot of like throwback acts that people want to see at Warped Tour. Like, specifically for me, like Avril Lavigne, that was the first time she played Warped Tour, and she got to headline it that one night.
I did like the fact that they had, it was not everything, but a lot of it was streamed. And I did watch a bunch of it. Chris, did you watch the MGK set?
I knew you were going to go there. No, I didn't. I heard about it, I guess. I can't remember what I heard.
I feel like the crowd didn't like him, and he was like yelling at the crowd.
I personally, nothing against. I have reasons where I'm not a big fan of MGK. Right. I like his album with Travis Barker, but my personal reasons go back to his EST Fest. It felt more like it was about doing drugs in the woods more than it was the music that was on those festivals. And that's just not something that I'm a fan of as like being pushed. I didn't watch MGK. I actually left before he played that night. As an old school Warped Tour person, and the fact that Sublime was playing, I felt like if you're bringing Warped Tour back for an anniversary, you should have had Sublime headline one night because they were the original headliner, in my opinion, right? Quite frankly, I think overall the whole weekend out of everybody, 303 had the biggest crowd.
I just saw them recently. They were
That's
fucking great.
I love that. I love that.
Blow you out of the water. It's insane.
I have a very different opinion. You all are so nerdy, man. Talking about morphing and 303. I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking like, man, I was so happy that I got to like see like 4 Year Strong. Actually, relating this back to our band and kind of what I said before about how it's great to be able to play songs that a lot of the audience knows and then be able to show them songs that they may not know that are adjacent, that are in this world. That's how I felt about Warped Tour, because like I probably would not pay to go see like Cartel live, but it might have been my favorite set of that weekend. And it's just because I happened to be standing there and I'm like, oh, I recognize that Cartel song. And I walk over and I'm like, I knew every Cartel song that they played and they sounded amazing. But like, I just don't think I would, especially being where I am at, like I'm not in a major city. I don't know that I would invest the time and money to drive from like here to Philadelphia to go stand in like a 600 capacity room to like watch Cartel as the headliner when I potentially don't know the other bands there. But that's how I feel about our shows too, is like people come out because they're going to know most of it. And then they get surprised by one or two things. That's the kind of feeling that I like to, that's like the same nostalgic feeling you get from being at Warped Tour.
Yeah. I mean, the whole
I would always go to like a club and watch a Wilhelm Scream or the Flatliners or something like these like underground punk bands. Like the festival thing, the like big headliner shows never was really my thing. So there's something for everybody. There's the nerdy 303 thing for you guys.
Wait a second.
Is that what that is?
When did 303 become nerdy?
I don't even know what 303 is, I'll be honest.
And Chris, I had no idea. Are you a low-key 303 fan?
Hell yeah. I bought the album when it came out.
We've been doing this show for 5 years. We've never brought them up. They opened for Bowling for Soup, 303, and Simple Plan, and 303 fucking nailed it. They were so good.
I love this about you guys, that you're all discovering this about each other.
I think I've had a couple friends go to that tour and they think 303 was the best band on the whole bill. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think Warped Tour accomplished what they should have for 30th. Like, you know, they attracted a younger demographic like they always did. They had enough nostalgic stuff for people our age to want to go. And I think it was a good crossover because I think there's kids who went for like maybe a 408 or something newer like that discovered, you know, maybe 4 Year Strong for the first time. They've just never, like, they know who they are, but they've never listened to them, right? And then, you know, there's people like me who went, and the one set that impressed me, which was somebody I had never listened to, was Girlfriends. You know, I happened to just be walking past when they were playing, and I stopped and watched a couple songs, and I was impressed with that, you know? So.
Or maybe
I think that a lot of people were. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you're good. You're good.
I was just to say that I think a lot of people might have been not only disappointed, potentially disappointed, call it what you will, with the lineup, but also just the fact that it was only 3 cities and it was kind of festival style. Didn't necessarily feel like the original approach. I don't know. I just don't, man, looking back, knowing what it takes to put on our show and then looking at like the massive amount of production that it took to put on the 3 festival shows for the Warped Tour this year, I don't know how they ever did it. Playing in every city that they hit. So I think feels a little bit like I was expecting that it was going to be like testing the waters. Like, hey, a festival is easier to manage. we're just going to set up and do 2 days here. And I kind of expected that if they were going to continue doing it, they might revert back to the old way or at least expand. I don't know if that's the case. I know they already announced a couple dates for next year, but it kind of seems like they're just going to follow in the same path.
Insomniac, who, little behind the scenes, Insomniac, who has the rights to, and is the ones booking Warped Tour, they own Emo Night LA. And they're kind of booking the Warped Tours based around other festivals that are already going on in those areas for business reasons, because your main stage is already built. You can just piggyback. Like, I know the DC one, you know, they did it not too long after they had like a gay pride festival there, because all the signage was still like in bins backstage because they had just taken it down and put Warped Tour signage up. So like, as far as a business model and why they're doing it, I think it makes sense. I think the other reason they would never go and do a full tour anymore is just because Kevin doesn't want to do that. You know, Kevin's teaching at USC and he's teaching music business now. So if you need a good degree.
And listen, we all got older. I mean, that
Right.
that summer tour across the United States in the fucking 100-degree heat is not easy for however old he was back then, and it's not going to be easy however old he is now.
I mean, his kids are all grown up now, and he likes being at home with his wife and, you know, doing different things. You know, he went out. He told me he was going out for a couple dates on that. What was the tour that just came out with Taylor Acorn and If Not For Me and a couple of those other acts? It was like a school themed tour. But he went out and did a couple dates, like working that tour. Like, that's stuff he would have never got to do if Warped Tour was out on the road for 3 months. So, you know, he does that, comes home and recovers for a month, and then he's back to the pen and paper planning the next year. So, you know, I think it works for what Kevin's life is at now. And I think, you know, as far as a Warped Tour fan, like, you have no reason to not want to go. Like, it's still the same Warped Tour. It's just bigger.
But like, that's the thing, the behind the scenes stuff is what a lot of people don't see, right? Like, I don't know that people realize the amount of Kevin that's in the Warped Tour.
Yes.
It's yeah.
I have a thought here, and it goes back to the question that I asked about original bands at bars, and it ties into this conversation. You think about somebody like me or somebody even 5-10 years younger than me that, you know, the only way, so for me to go out and do a Warped Tour, do something like that, I have to make plans, I have to set things up, I have to get, you know, babysitters, I have to pay, I have to buy the tickets or travel, all that stuff. It's not easy, right? But if you show me a list of bands like you did, where the majority of them maybe don't necessarily fall into the wheelhouse of what I want to listen to, how are you going to get me off of my couch to go there? And then I guess the follow-up question is, maybe that's not the goal. Maybe it is to get that younger audience out there more so than it is to get me up off the couch, because I don't necessarily care about listening to new music. I just want to hear Wonder Years. I just want to hear stuff that I remember or know from the 2000s and 2010s, early 2010s. But that didn't seem like it scratched that itch. And it might just be my ignorance from not knowing all the bands out there. Again, maybe. But I'm definitely not going to pay any money to see MGK. If anything, they maybe lost fans because of him, because that's, again, more my opinion. There's the smirk.
Yeah,
So
fine.
He's kind of like, for
I don't
me,
know.
you know, the line from Howard Stern, Private Parts, like I listen because, you know, I want to see what he's going to say next. Like, I watched MGK stream just because I wanted to see what it was about.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When we started, we played an MGK song. Like, you know, I'm not a fan of Fred Durst, but I was the first one when the guys wanted to do Limp Bizkit that said, yeah, I mean, you
It's
know,
different,
it makes
though.
sense.
I think that's different. I think it's different because it's what you guys did. Like, that's part of your brand to do that.
Right.
And that makes sense to do that. But he's the one generating that music. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a thought. I don't know if you guys have any opinions.
I mean, I kind of go back to what I said before. You know, I think Warped Tours, they were always after that 15 to 23-year-old demographic. You know, I think Warped Tour this year, what the selling point was, is it was people where there was enough quote throwback nostalgic acts on it for them to justify the money to go. I think there was enough younger acts on it for that younger demographic to go. But I also think a lot of the people who bought tickets were either people like me who went to all the Warped Tours regardless, or the exact opposite end of younger kids who never got the opportunity to go to Warped Tour because maybe they were 16 when Warped Tour ended, right? But now they're in their 20s, or like, they were 14, but mom wouldn't take them, and because mom didn't want to sit in the reverse daycare tent all day while they were off doing who knows what. So I think they sold to a lot of people this year who just knew what Warped Tour was or had heard about it and wanted to just go because they wanted to say they've been to a Warped Tour.
When you looked around, since you guys were there, what did you feel like? So I'm on the other side of 40, right? If I looked around, what did you guys think that it was like a nice mix of that, 15 to 24, whatever the age group is? I would think that it would be people in their 30s and 40s that can afford the ticket and want the nostalgia acts. But I'm curious, when you guys were there and you're looking at that crowd, what did it look like?
I would say it was a little bit more on the older side of that kind of threshold that you're describing. But what was interesting is there was a lot more kids there than I was expecting that were there with their parents. So you had the like 40, 50-year-old parents with like the teens or like, older teens and young teens. There was kids there. There was babies there. I was like, man, I told my wife, I was like, we could have brought our daughter down. But like, we just didn't really expect that. I don't know that was a thing back in the early 2000s.
No, definitely not old Warped Tour bringing a baby. But I think you ended up with like 60% people like in their 30s and 40s who wanted to go for the nostalgic aspect of it.
Sure.
And I think, to Aaron's point, a lot of the parents you saw there with their kids, I think they were parents who were Warped Tour parents and wanted to bring their kids to a Warped Tour. I do think maybe 15%, maybe pushing to 20% were like 16 to 24-year-old kids who were there without like a parent around. But like, I feel like 20-25% of the parents who like kids who were there were with a parent who like dad looked like he went to a NoFX concert 30 years ago.
I have one complaint that Warped Tour needs to hear. There was not a single coffee tent. Like,
really?
Honestly, I was blown away. I was just planning to like chug me some iced coffees all day long, and there was nothing.
Iced coffee, I'll play ball, but it's Warped Tour is always 100 degrees or it was raining. They didn't want coffee.
I'm going to set up an iced coffee tent next year, and I'm just going to like make bank. Couldn't believe it.
I'll get you the contact. You can be a vendor.
I will.
You hear that, Steve? That's the way to go. Coffee.
Hey, listen.
What the hell
There's
is this?
the balloons. Yeah.
What the hell is
He's
that?
excited.
What did I do?
Congratulations.
Oh, fantastic.
So, guys, what's we appreciate you giving us the heads up on the Warped Tour this year, and of course about your band. It seems that you guys are touring. Not, we're in the Northeast. It seems like you're touring pretty much all over. What do you guys have coming up? I guess is the wintertime a calm down time, or are you guys still going to be hitting the road?
December's always bad. I don't want to say bad for us, but December's always nuts because a couple years ago we started theming our December shows for Christmas shows, and like we've got like fake snow and garland and Christmas lights and blow ups and stuff, and we deck the whole stage out for the holidays, and we'll even wrap merch and throw it out as presents from stage. And
do a couple pop punk Christmas songs.
Yeah, this year specifically, a couple clubs that we've been playing that we do well in caught wind that we do that, and our inbox got flooded this year for December for Christmas shows. I think December.
If anything, a little bit of insider info is that like we've been trying to like we test everything. We test how well ads are doing. We test where to go, which markets are working. We test the right venue size, all these kind of things. That's why we're doing. We test which songs to play, and one of the things we've been discovering is that like actually summer is a little bit more difficult, especially with the like venues that we play typically, which is your like 400 to 600 cap music venue. I feel like it's just that like people don't want to stand inside on like a nice sunny summer day. Where we've been successful is like a brewery, where it's kind of got that indoor outdoor vibe. There's like you can step outside, play around a cornhole, and then come back in. At least that's like the kind of the feeling. Nobody's really doing that, but it's like available to you. Wintertime though, like you got nothing to do. It gets dark early up here in the States and you're just looking to get inside and rock out at a punk club. So we are booked solid all the time, fall through spring.
Yeah. So little insider tip we'll give the podcast is that we actually will be doing the whole US next year for the first time.
Oh, nice.
You don't need to do that. Just stay here in Pennsylvania and let us see you guys more often. You don't need to go all those other places. No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, Warped Tour's not, so somebody got
Did you
us.
talk to my wife?
Oh no. So yeah, we're just about done booking. We're gonna break the US up into two legs. We're gonna do January through March. We're gonna go south and we're gonna go the whole way out to California and back. Kind of do the south and quote South by Southwest quote. And then come fall, we're gonna do the north and the northwest, and we'll go the whole way out to Washington and Oregon and back. And then kind of in the down times, we're gonna stay a little more local this time. So kind of like your April through August are gonna be us more northeast or on the East Coast in general. And then we'll be back home in December and do all of our Christmas shows like normal. But yeah, we're just about done routing out to California and back.
Hope you guys have a good van.
Oh, it's a great van.
Oh,
It's got a big screen TV that we never use.
we bought like a Ford Transit the other year that's like the whole inside's redone by this company. So it's like instead of the bench seats that every band gets stuck on trying to sleep, we've got like full chairs and stuff. And when we bought it, we were like, oh, cool. Like it's got overhead storage. It's a high roof. It's got a big screen TV in it to keep us occupied on the long rides. And then like we end up just dicking around and we don't even use the TV anyway. We were all excited about the TV and I think we've used it 3 times.
We do a lot of work in the van, whether it's like our other jobs or just band work. I mean, we figure we're all
doing. I don't keep getting balloons. I'm not putting my hands up anymore. I'm keeping my hands down.
I don't know how you make the balloons happen on the video.
My unbirthday.
There's something that you're doing. Yeah, you're doing something.
We figure while we're all together, we get some stuff done. So that way we don't have to really do anything outside of the times we're together.
Very cool. Any selfishly, any dates on the western side of the state of Pennsylvania?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Just confirmed something at Ben Salem. So it's right in.
That's the eastern side.
More western.
Oh, western side. I'm sorry. We'll be back at Thunderbird in Pittsburgh. We just confirmed October 17th. We'll be at the Greensburg Beer Festival. We're gonna do that. That'll be cool. That'll be. I don't know if it's free to get in or not. We just booked it. I haven't actually looked at all the details yet. They just called us.
And then, in 2 weeks we're at Indiana, PA.
Yeah,
UP area.
Indiana, PA, and Raindrop. Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool. I might go down to that Greensburg festival. Maybe I'll see you guys there.
He heard beer and potentially free. He was in. It's like, I'm in.
I mean, what more do you need? What more do you need? Greensburg's not that far away, so not. Thunderbird's fine too, but no, it's cool. I look forward to seeing you guys out there.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Let us know.
Absolutely. Steve, anything else?
No, man. I think there's one more thing that
oh yeah, no. I didn't want to get to my thing until you were done with your thing. But remember, I told you guys to hold that thought. We never end a show without ranking it. It's a segment of the show where we have our guests rank something in order. No honorable mentions at all. They're outlawed. You're not allowed. It has to be in order 3, 2, 1. So I think that I'm going to do 2 different ones this time.
Can we rank it like fuck, marry, kill? Or is it actually 3, 2, 1?
No. Unfortunately, that is a different game. Maybe another time. But we're going to, Drew, I need you to give me in order 3, 2, 1, the 3 very best Green Day songs of all time.
Ooh, songs. I thought you were going to throw me album. Ooh,
no,
okay.
I'm not. It's not.
We already know your answer to that.
Oh yeah. Man, you put me on the spot. Okay. Unpopular opinion, probably. Basket Case 3. Um, American Idiot 2. And in my personal opinion, She is the best Green Day song.
Wow.
In my opinion.
She. It's a great song.
You get a little bit of everything, especially when they do it live. Like the live way they do it, like you get Mike Dirnt's got a solo. When they play it live, Jason Freeze does a solo in it, as does Billy. Like, and it shows off, Trey Cool's, iconic, really fast drum playing, which is if you ever drum, if you sit down and try to play an hour, let alone 2.5 hours like Trey Cool does at that speed, it is unbearable on your forearms. It's terrible. It's impressive how fast he can play for how long. Even if it's not like Travis Barker complicated, just how fast he can play. But yeah, I think, in my opinion, I think She is underrated as a Green Day song. So I would put it number 1, 2 American Idiot, 3 Basket Case.
I'm fine with She because Mad Caddies did a cover of She, so I'm familiar with that. So I concur with She.
It's funny because She came after in the order of Dookie. That was directly after Basket Case, right? It went Basket Case, She.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
As a 14-year-old kid, I would get pissed off when She would come on because that meant Basket Case was over.
No,
and I had
man.
to go back to listen to Basket. You have to understand the grasp of that song on me, on a 14-year-old kid in that 1994. Like, it was just like nothing I've never heard before. And so I didn't want to give any other song a chance. Now, over time, She grew on me. Obviously, it's a great song.
Yeah,
but,
not the best song
fun.
on that album, in my opinion, though. Best song on that album is still Burnout. Right off the rip with that. I love that.
Can't disagree. All right, Aaron, you can do the Green Day thing, or you can do choice number 2.
Oh my God. I might only be able to name 3 Green Day songs.
Yeah.
I think aside from the ones you listed, I know you said 21 Guns. The reason I know that is because the solo to that is a ripoff of the Full House theme song. And I know Minority. I don't know why I said Report.
Okay, you'll do choice
Tom
number
Cruise.
2.
Yeah, let's find door number 2 on Let's Make a Deal.
It's the door number 2 is the top 3 Warped Tour years and why. 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
dude,
well, I don't know which one's harder for you now.
I wish I had a picture of it. I probably do on my phone somewhere. But Warped Tour '95, when we were there at Warped Tour DC, they had like a little historic booth museum kind of thing. I think it was the Punk Rock Museum kind of came and set up a little tent, and they had the bill for '95, and it was like Pennywise, NoFX, H2O played, and H2O is one of my all-time favorite bands. It was just like the perfect list of all the like OG like skate punk, hardcore punk bands that I just would give anything to see that show.
And I'm gonna correct you because I don't want to get hate mail because we're the Warped band. Pennywise didn't play '95.
It wasn't Pennywise.
I think the lineup you're thinking of is '96. '96.
So '96 it is.
So here's '96. It was Civ, Deftones, Down by Law, Face to Face, Fluff, Goldfinger, Guttermouth, Lagwagon, NoFX, Pennywise, Red 5, Rocket from the Crypt, The Alcoholics, and Unwritten Law. I don't know if there's any more, but that's what Setlist FM says. So
you know who else was on 90? You know who else was '96? There's a couple big ones that were involved in '96 that wasn't on that list yet. Limp Bizkit did that year. Insane Clown Posse did that year. I'm pretty sure too. I don't remember if they did the whole tour, but they definitely played some dates.
I'm going to go with that.
Is this too challenging? Are you going to say that's number? I'll just say what's your number 1. You're going to say '96 is your number 1.
I mean, I wasn't there. That's just the one I would want to see if I had a time machine.
Now, '97 had Pennywise too, apparently. 97
yeah.
had,
Yeah,
it was
I don't have it up in
Blink.
front of me.
I have it here. Head BE, Blink 182, Descendants, Hepcat, Lagwagon, Less Than Jake, Limp Bizkit, Millencolin. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I
Pennywise,
love Melancholy.
Real Big Fish, Royal Crown Review, Sick of It All, Snapcase, Social Distortion, The Bouncing Souls, The Boss Tones, and The Suicide Machines.
That's a really, really ska era.
Yes, it is.
That was like 5 or 6 ska bands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suicide
Needed the
Machines
chain
are
wallet.
awesome. They were in DC. I mean, Less Than Jake's played more than any other band. They were awesome in DC.
Jeopardy
But-
question.
Yeah, 96. I think that I like that sound of that one. I would love to go see 96.
I would pick 99 as number one. If I had to pick a number one, I'd probably pick 99 and then probably like 2003 or 4. One of the two.
I
I'm
would
gonna
not
say
pick 96 to suggest that other people go back in time to see
Oh,
that.
no,
That's my
96 is
personal-
up there. 96
Listen.
is definitely up there, but I think Chris should pull up the 99 lineup.
2003 to me is one of the best ones that I've seen. It's brand new. Coheed and Cambria, Count the Stars, Dropkick Murphys, Face to Face, Glass Shaw, Less Than Jake, Mad Caddies, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Mest, Motion City Soundtrack, Pennywise, Punchline, Rancid, Rise Against, Stun, Simple Plan, Taking Back Sunday, The All American Rejects, The Atari Starting Line, The Used, Thrice,
2003.
Yellow
It's-
Card.
That's the one you walk away from though, and you're like, shit, I didn't get to see like half the
Half
bands
the-
I wanted to.
because they played the same freaking time.
Well,
Yeah,
and not
amazing lineup.
not every one of those bands was on every date.
No. I still
sure.
think I will always
Still.
stand on this mountain, and Soapbox 99 is the best lineup for Warped Tour.
All right, I'll do one more. So 99. Here's 99. 7 Seconds, Agnostic Front. I don't know those bands. Black Eyed Peas, Blink 182, the Buzz Poets. Sorry if you're a Buzz Poets fan. Dropkick Murphys, Edna's Goldfish, Eminem, Phoenix TX,
Mhm.
Rezel Romb. I don't know what that is. Grind Spoon, H Block X, Jimmy Eat World, Less Than Jake, Luna Chicks, Molotov, Orange 9mm, Pennywise, Seven Dust, Suicidal Tendencies, The Bouncing Souls, The Living End, and The Vandals.
I'm gonna go with
99.
your 03. Your 03 lineup sounded a little better than that. I go
Ice-T.
96 03. And then
Ice-T was on 99 too.
Was it?
Dude,
Yeah, this may
Ice-T,
not be a
Body
complete
Count.
list.
Not body count, just Ice-T.
just Ice-T.
Just Ice-T, no body count.
That's all you need.
Body
Just
count
Ice-T.
didn't hit for another couple years yet. Still Ice-T.
All right, boys.
There,
Well,
there.
thank you so much for doing Ranking It, for coming on and talking with us about Warped Tour, about the Warped Band. And please tell everybody where they can find you on the socials and the webs and the things and majigs.
You can find us at Official Warped Tour Tribute. Is that our Instagram handle? We just changed it recently. Kevin Lyman and Insomnia Events, they gratefully allowed us to be called the Official Tribute to Warped Tour. And so we were able to say Official Warped Tour Tribute on Instagram. I think it's still just Warped Band PA on Facebook.
No, it's official Warped Tour tribute.
Official Warped Tour Tribute everywhere. Go check out the Official Warped Tour Tribute. But you can find us in all the places. We're trying to work on, we have this really cool Blink-182 medley that we do that we're currently recording. So soon enough, you'll be able to find us on Spotify and listen in your leisure time. But we will probably be coming to a city near you within the next year. So definitely follow us and take a look at, and always hit us up. We love chatting with people about this kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. Thanks again for coming on the show. And thank you out there for listening to yet another episode of High School Never Ends, the podcast. If you're hearing my voice right now, then chances are you're listening to us via a platform. If one of those platforms are Apple or Spotify, don't forget to give us a rating. Obviously, a 5-star written review would be amazing for the show, for me, for everybody. So go ahead and do that. And don't forget to check out our shop. We have all kinds of cool stuff in there, from hats to mugs. You can find a link to that shop and all of our socials at our hub, www.hsnepod.com.
Yep, and follow us on the socials as well at HSNE Pod, like High School Never Ends Pod. We have a Discord server where we chat all about Warped Tour and Warped Tour bands and all that good stuff. We have a Patreon. Thank you to our patrons. Chris, we list them out. Chris P., Punkish Dad's friend, Punk Rock Mom, Jeff, Tom, Ashley, Jason, Sam, Chris W., and Nick. You can join our Patreon and get bonus episodes and all that other good stuff at patreon.com/HSNEpod. The Warp Band, thank you guys for a cool set when I saw you. Thank you for coming on the show. Until next time, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
Dragon Wagon.